Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And welcome to the Main Street Cinema, the show where we discuss the finer points of filmmaking. And oh boy, folks, today we have a commentary for Batman and Harley Quinn. This is the 2017 DCEU, well, not DCEU, DC Animated Universe movie. It's kind of a Dragon. It's basically like the big Bruce Timm comeback, right? Or at least it was supposed to be.
Well, again, he had come back already with the Justice League Gods and Monsters, so he's already come back. But
Okay, so this is his big comeback. Like Justice League Gods and Monsters was a great sort of like Elseworld story. We really like that one, yeah. But this is sort of Bruce Timm's big comeback into like the fabric of the Batman the Animated Series lore, correct?
To the animated series, yes, this is absolutely this has been referred to as kind of the redheaded kind of nephew of the animated series. Like he hasn't really done the animated series style straight on like this ever. So I mean, this is like straight on.
So, folks, in case we're kind of beating around the bush with it, this is a very mixed movie.
It's a divisive film, to say the least.
Yeah, to say the least. So, folks, Dragon has a brilliant metaphor that I'll allow him to do, but very quickly, I mean, I agree with him about this metaphor, and I will just say there are parts of this movie that are really, really solid. There are characterization moments for all three of the main characters, Batman, Nightwing, and Harley, that are just really spot on, Dragon. But there's also, I think, for me, at least two moments in this film. I mean, one of them is the big one that you and I are just going to go hard into in this commentary. We'll get there, folks. And then another scene that just drags on. Like, there's just, like, really weird, like, it's not that the whole movie is bad. Like, most of the movie, I think, is pretty watchable. It goes from pretty watchable to, like, really good. But then there's those two scenes, Dragon, and especially the scene that you want to just chase after with cutting room floor scissors. Oh, it just that one moment just tanks everything. I don't know. So this to me is just a giant enigma of a movie. I really have no idea what to think about it. So how would you describe it, Dragon?
Well, at risk of sounding like Bruce Nolan from Bruce Almighty, I gotta just very simply say that I have this analogy. If it's sort of like being the animated series fan that I am, again, it's my Batman. It's my jam. It's the thing I grew up with. It's the thing that has defined me fundamentally as a person, Tiki. That and Pixar. Those are the two things that, like, if I had to boil down myself with that, so that would define
Deadpool
those.
is crying in a corner right now.
Again, Deadpool wasn't there from the very beginning.
Okay, fair enough.
He knows that, darn it. Don't try to guilt me on that. He's only been around for 8 years.
All right. I'm sorry. That was a pot shot.
Anyway. Point is, those things really define them. Of course, the animated series they had very, very deep nostalgic connections to, and of course, gets me in the superheroes, gets me in the whole shebang. Anyway, so that said, I was looking very forward to this, and of course, this movie comes out on the 25th anniversary of two things: the animated series and Harley Quinn's creation, which was in the animated series, and in many ways, and it's kind of a great thing about the character of Harley Quinn. Every time, just the fact that Harley Quinn is around and she's permeated herself in the comics means the animated series will never die.
Oh yeah,
which is kind of a nice thing. And based on that, I was just looking forward to this movie coming out. I was like, hey, this is going to be a great little. I wasn't expecting like Yates or anything. I was like, it's going to be a fun little tribute to the animated series. Like I kind of had my serious kind of vague version of that with the Killing Joke. Like it was kind of like we're kind of closing the loop on the animated series, kind of the unofficial closing of the book on, which is kind of nice. And here's kind of a fun little kind of rompy tribute to it. And for me, it just felt going into it. Walking out of it, it's like a cookie. It's like it's like a giant nostalgia cookie made of two other cookies with big old pile of cream in the middle. It's like the best. It's like the most confusing Oreo ever. On one side, you're biting into like this giant, again, this very well made Oreo cookie with like Batman imprinted on the sides. Batman. It's like two coins with imprints on it. I feel like one side's this, and Batman, in Bat We Trust, something like that. It's just like it's like a big old bat side of the cookie. I'm enjoying this. Like, oh man, it's like taking me back. It's like, oh, it's the best cookie I've ever had. Like, it's not, I'm getting to the cream yet, and I'm having a good time with it. It's just it's delicious. It's wholesome, good entertainment. Hooray! It's entertainment for my senses, for my taste, and everything. And on the other, and then I'm getting to the middle. I'm saying something doesn't taste quite right here. I'm not sure how I feel about it. The cream in the middle, it's kind of spoiled. I'm making that discovery as I'm going forward. It's like, okay, we'll see how this is going. Oh man, I'm not going to say I'm regretting it, but there's definitely there's a change going on here. I'm not sure how I feel about it. Then I'm getting to the other side of the cookie. Basically, there was like an exquisite design here, like let's just say of Harley Quinn to make a Batman Harley Quinn here. It's like, oh, that's nice, but I'm noticing a lot of like they're broken pieces of cookie on the other side. You're noticing like, okay, oh man, this would have been nice, but half the cookie's missing. I'm missing there are crumbs everywhere. It's like it's been like rubbed against something, so it's like, oh, I'm getting all over my fingers. Like, oh, come on. I was trying to have like one really great nostalgic adventure with this cookie. I've taken a bite and I'm having all these myriad of feelings, but at the same time, I'm glad I bought that cookie. But at the same time, it's, you know what? It could be better though, and I know it could be better, but still, it was an experience.
My God, that was even better than the first time you told it to me. Props to you, sir. That's
it's a mixed bag of.
That is a creative allegory, man.
It's a nostalgic cookie, folks. It's a mixed bag, but at the same time, it's very nostalgic, so it fills you with a lot of familiar and sometimes confusing emotions.
All right, so Dragon, let's get into give us the tour of the cookie factory, Dragon. How did this cookie get made?
Okay, here's how the cookie gets made. So, this movie was made by we have the director Sam Liu worked on this film. Sam Liu, he is I want to say it's pronounced Liu, it's Liu. Sam Liu. He's worked on various films before. I want to say he directed the Dark Knight Returns animated films. I'm pretty sure he did. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. No, crap. I'm terribly sorry. That was J. Olive. I'm sorry. I love J. Olive. I don't want to screw that. Point Sam Liu, he's directed various other things, including Young Justice, very popular show. He's directed a lot of animated stuff for the DC films, a lot of the in-continuity ones, which, can range from good to bad. But I also believe he did the other Bruce Timm film, which was Justice League Gods and Monsters, which was, again, very good. So, he directed it, and our writing team was Bruce Timm, of course, the co-creator of Harley Quinn, mainly the artist of Harley Quinn, and Jim Craig. Now, Jim Craig, he, I want to say he's relatively new to the staff, and he, unfortunately, is not Paul Dini.
Yeah, I was going to say, we should probably address the big elephant in the room of who's missing.
So that's the thing we really got to hit upon here, folks. I feel this film could have... I think half the film's there is structure. I think Bruce Timm brought the outline, which let me get into the making of explaining that a little. So put a pin.
We needed the Lennon-McCartney reunion, Dragon.
So let me put a pin in the Dean here. I'm going to circle back.
Right.
To it. Here's the origins of the film here. So, believe it or not, the DC original animated film line, they were looking to capitalize on. Bear in mind, this shows you animation takes time, folks. And when Suicide Squad was in the works, was being made. There was a lot of buzz around Harley Quinn, of course, in the Suicide Squad movie being made. So what they did is they wanted to capitalize on that. So they figured, let's do a Harley Quinn movie, and they were in talks about that. And Alan Burnett, of course, one of the animation godfathers of Batman. Michael Uslan's the godfather of Batman everywhere. Alan Burnett's the animation godfather. He was there before Bruce Timm was.
Mm-hmm.
So literally, Alan Burnett, who was very friendly with Paul Dini, Bruce Timm, various other players in the animated Batman universe, he bumps into Bruce Timm. He just tells him, Bruce, we're kind of talking about doing a Harley Quinn movie. And Bruce Timm, I think he was just catching Bruce Timm in a really good mood, by the way, because there's like Bruce Timm, right. When he was kind of sharing the story, he's just very casually in a good mood. He says, you know what? I'm totally down for it. It sounds like just bumped into Bruce Timm, Bruce Timm was on the best day ever. He was having Harley Quinn movie. I'm in. and basically just he dived right into it on the spot. He got really into it. He storyboarded and kind of outlined the whole thing instantly, and he kind of showed that to the Jim Craig, and he was like, okay, I'm just gonna add some turn this into a script, because again, Bruce Timm is bored and he's doing a bunch of drawings, look really great. And again, the Bruce Timm style, he's back, baby, he's back, and he's outlining it. He's basically taking, and the premise of this film is a rehash of an old great episode of the animated series called Harlequinade. which essentially is a road adventure. Well, I shouldn't say road adventure because they don't really go on the roads they do in this film. It's
I wish they didn't go on the road in this movie.
Here's the thing: Harley Quinn very simply is it's a 48 hours parody. You know, it's a buddy movie. It's a buddy movie for an episode. Basically, Batman, to stop the Joker, has to use Harley Quinn's information to stop the Joker. In this case, they did it with Poison Ivy. Again, really good episode, and that's very much the building blocks of this. But they also took influence from all the other Harley Quinn episodes from the animated series. You know, who doesn't love those? So, let's see. So, and of course, basically in making that, they also wanted it to kind of be very nostalgic towards the animated series, and again to kind of commemorate a little bit of, you know, Harley Quinn, the animated series reaching 25 years, possibly. I haven't gotten confirmation on that, but I'd imagine that was definitely factored in their process. Why be so wonderfully faithful to the animated series at times? Then, you know, for that reason. And Jim Craig kind of described this, and this is the analogy I think also works best aside from the cookie, that this is very much the redheaded the redheaded nephew of the animated series. That's kind of how he's described, because again, it is very much in the style of the animated series, and it basically kind of plays like, what if we basically they're saying this is like the semi in continuity film between the New Adventures and Justice League. Is kind of what gets Batman. It's like, it's not a I'm just saying that's stylistically it's kind of consistent.
It's funny because to me, stylistically, it kind of feels more similar to like an in-between between the original Batman, the animated series, and then the New Adventures of Batman. But what do I know? I'm just a novice when it comes to these things.
I believe it. I thought that when I looked at it, and honestly, I think there's a lot of evidence to suggest it's kind of like, because he's designed in the New Adventure style. It seems kind of like the in-between between that and Justice League. But that's...
to me, it seemed like the character designs were adventure style and the backgrounds were more original animated series
I know,
style.
right? That's kind of the cool thing. I like how they kind of dipped into all of those pots. Like we have all three of those versions. Basically, all the DCAU Batmans, aside from Batman Beyond, coming into the fray, which is cool. Anyway, so, and again, it's very noticeable. So again, it's basically kind of a soft in continuity film where you could put it in continuity and be nothing really saying no, except for kind of the PG-13ness of it all.
Oh,
aside from that,
God.
which we'll get into. I mean, aside from that, it's kind of you could lump it into the animated continuity if you really wanted to. And of course, the thing,
except for one particular scene, which I'm sure you wouldn't want anywhere near the animated series continuity.
Never. As far as, again, I'm not lumping it in there. I'm just saying that that's kind of where they're at with how it works.
Right.
So, and again, folks, noticeably there's a lack of Paul Dini. Paul Dini, he had kind of like there was a time where he had like a soft retirement, but at the same time he then came back for the Arkham games, and then he came back for his wonderful book that Tiki and I talked about, Dark Knight: A True Batman Story. So he's not necessarily out of the Batman universe. So I don't understand why. I don't know if he was contacted, if he wasn't, but all we know are the facts here that he did not have a hand in this movie, and it shows. So that's why the characterizations in places seem off. We don't have quite the thought-provoking or the fun, because Dean's a funny guy too. He wrote some of the best jokes in that with the Harley Quinn Joker episode. So you notice a lot of the humor, a lot of the tight knit storytelling is out of here. But we have kind of the structural skeleton that feels very Bruce Timm, and the designs, of course, which feel very much like Bruce Timm. Lastly, this marks the return of Lorne Lester, who has never returned until this film to the role of Dick Grayson, Robin/Nightwing. Cool,
nice little reunion there. Awesome. Okay, so folks, we are going to do our level best to do this as a discussion that you do not necessarily have to be watching the movie along to enjoy as a podcast. But if you want to watch along with us, I'm sure it'll give you some context for what we're talking about. However, Dragon, I feel like there's so much weird shit in this movie that this is just going to be a really fun conversation regardless. Like, I really think this is going to be one of our more fun commentaries. So if you guys want to go ahead and watch along, go ahead and get to timestamp 000 on whatever copy you're watching this on. And I will go ahead and count up to 3 and say go. And when I say go, we will all press play at the same time and hopefully be synced up. Sound good to you, Dragon?
Yep.
All right, folks. Batman and Harley Quinn. Commentary in 1, 2, 3... Go! God help us all.
Fun little note: we have the same music team from the Justice League animated series, who also have done Return of the Caped Crusaders and Killing Joke, and they've been coming back with these films, and they did an excellent job with Cape Crusaders. It was nice to have like kind of the DCAU team working on this.
Well, it's interesting because much in the same way that Cape Crusaders kind of replicated the '60s soundtrack, this very much does a good job of, you know, feeling like something out of the animated series in terms of music.
Yeah, again, it feels very Justice League-esque with the music, which is what that's kind of, I feel like we're kind of getting into with the kind of where Batman's kind of going with his arc here, because you know he's talking to the Watchtower and everything, so it's very loose like where Batman is if this is kind of in there. So it's again taking from multiple hats here. So let's talk about Jason Woodrow, otherwise known as the Florrick Man.
Why couldn't we just get Swamp Thing as the main villain?
Well, no, Swamp Thing's not a villain, Tiki.
I guess, yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Fair enough.
Do you remember the Florrick Man though? You know, you remember we've seen him in a Batman movie.
Have we seen him in a Batman movie? I can't for the life of me remember.
Technically, he was John Glover in Batman and Robin. He was the doctor who kind of pushed Buffy into the...
Oh no, that guy, really? Oh my god.
That was him before.
I'm afraid you'll have to die.
That's him. Now, bear in mind, he has like a different backstory, and I was just kind of working in there for the movie.
That's wonderful. And you know me, Dragon. I kind of love the so bad it's good quality of Batman and Robin. Anyways.
So I just passed. I really wanted to highlight because Tiki and I are going to go gaga over the Swamp Thing stuff in this movie. I just want to say, I bear in mind the little I know about Swamp Thing.
Can I just quickly say I love this opening animation? It kind of reminds me of Pink Panther a little bit.
Sure, and it is a really good opening too. I mean, I like that we're kind of again Cape Crusaders did this. I don't know if I hope they would bringing this back. Because we had openings for a while when they were starting to do these movies, and there was a long time we didn't do them anymore. Now it seems like we're bringing it back, and they've been really good with Cape Crusaders and this being the kind of a long while, and very very stylized, very kind of really cool, kind of epitomizing kind of what Harley Quinn is here. Is kind of the
definitely. And like I said, it reminds me of like something out of like a 1960s screwball comedy.
Yeah, which of course Harley Quinn very screwball in nature fits like his glove. But yes, back to the Swamp Thing thing. Based on the very little I know, I mean, anyone who does not know who Swamp Thing is going to be a little lost on it. But I mean, like to the comic fans, just like seeing Alex Holland's name on there is like, oh man, that was like a cool reveal. Like it's just kind of things kind of clicked into place that hey. Alex Holland's Swamp Thing, and we have kind of plant-themed bad guys. They have kind of like one of the greatest plant characters ever, something involving his past at their disposal, which is not going to be good. Basically, it's kind of like setting up some big stakes right there out from the beginning. And this certainly does feel very Hanna-Barbera, too.
Yeah, that's true. It does have a little bit of Hanna-Barbera in there, for sure. All right. Yeah. Love the blimps straight out of the opening, of course.
Oh, yeah. Loving those blimps.
Nice pan.
So, again, we're mixing again, kind of like many DCAU eras of Batman here. So again,
Dragon, can I just say, since we're at Star Labs, I was really hoping that we'd see Harrison Wells.
Well, maybe if he time traveled, he actually could have been animated.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I have no idea what the continuity for that would be because he's Reverse Flash, obviously. But I don't know. I was just like, oh, I saw Star Labs, and I was like, ooh, Harrison Wells, maybe, possibly. Anyways,
yeah. So again, to me, right out the gate, and this is what I'm loving about kind of the first 18 minutes of this movie here. It's a very classic Batman Nightwing on the scene. Feels very New Adventures of Batman. This is the kind of stuff they do. Like they go out a little bit more in broad daylight type stuff. Not broad daylight, but like kind of when the sun's just going down. They basically be interacting with more people like they're doing now, and we get some cool kind of detective stuff here where they're watching again the origin of Swamp Thing play. Which again, give me a movie of this, folks. I'm dying for a movie of this.
That would be such a cool move on like an animated movie would be great. I'd love for a live action movie of Swamp Thing, because DC, like the DCEU, like the cinematic universe, it seems like they're taking risks, Dragon. I mean, they need to get their shit together in terms of like actually nailing down a schedule. I think that's what Marvel has down over them, is Marvel does like the scheduling a lot better. But like DCEU is really taking a lot of risks, and I really wouldn't be surprised to see something like Swamp Thing in one of their future movies.
Yeah, well, also, I mean, I just love that we got like a Bruce Timm rendering of the Swamp Thing origin just now, and that satiated me enough. But again, I'm dying for more because every time they've done Swamp Thing in animation, which has only been like this movie in like a quick scene or two in another in Justice League Dark, the animated film. Again, I'm dying for more Swamp Thing. There's definitely avenues to explore with that, but there may be more on Swamp Thing later. Sure. So again, what's great about Kevin Conroy and Lauren Lester back in the roles again. These two guys hadn't reunited for years, and they slipped into it like a glove. These two again, they have a great dynamic, and all that chemistry they had as Batman, Robin, and Batman and Nightwing, and all the Batman series. It works wonders.
Yeah, I really haven't seen much stuff with Nightwing in it, but this is definitely a good representation for the character for someone like me who's not really all too familiar but knows the basics of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So this character here, Sarge Steel. Now, Sarge Steel, I want to say, is kind of a vaguely obscure character from the DC universe. Again, I don't know the guy. I've seen some comic art of him from way back in the olden days of DC Comics. So Sarge Steel, basically what they did here is they made him a member of Argus, which is Amanda Waller's organization, which is all over the place in the Arrow show and on the CW. So if anyone's they hear Argus, and also basically these are the guys that are behind the Suicide Squad. That's all you really need to.
I feel like this guy kind of plays the Gordon role more than anyone else in this movie.
He plays you're right. He's filling the Gordon role, but no way he has
authority figure that Batman's, working with.
Yes, and I'm telling you, just again, this first 18 minutes is all solid stuff here because again, we set up the stakes. Again, they stole Swamp Thing information. Okay, Swamp Thing, it's a big deal, and these guys are armed with essentially kind of whatever Alex Holland is cooked. Whatever stuff really in Alex Holland is a big deal for people with plant-based powers to get their hands on. Whatever they're planning is going to be very dangerous. And Batman's just going essentially to the government right now, saying, "Hey, so I can find these guys." And again, it's a sequence that's playing very well. It's him getting his Harold Goldblum lead.
Yeah, for sure.
And again, with this Argus stuff, it feels very much like we're playing homage to the Justice League Unlimited era of Batman in the DC universe. Because again, he's reaching out beyond Gotham in a way when we go to the government like this. Because Gotham's very kind of landlocked to the city, which is kind of where we're at in the animated series and New Adventures. And when we get Justice League, we're having fun with Batman in the DC universe here.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was kind of a clever way, and again, it's kind of a way of kind of branching all eras of Batman in a way. All of that, the animated Batman.
Sure. Yeah, it's like it's kind of appropriate too because this is a road movie, so it starts out he's in. I'm assuming this is Central City with Star Labs.
Well, no. There's Star Labs everywhere, Tiki. So there's a very good chance they are
that's
actually.
Why I assumed it was Central City, but I'm like, I don't know for sure.
That's the thing, because there's also there's a prominent Star Labs in Metropolis, and here they're either in Metropolis or very likely they just added a Star Labs to Gotham. I'm pretty sure they added a Star Labs to Gotham. It's either that or Metropolis. It's not Central City, believe me.
Morty.
So by that little Morty gag here in this humor does feel vaguely Dini-esque. It feels very much like in Justice League and Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah, I think all this humor really lands. I agree.
There's an episode in Unlimited that Paul Dini wrote that feels they have a sequence in that episode very much like this, where basically it's a comedy episode where Wonder Woman gets turned into a pig and Batman has to try to save her.
Oh God!
And again, it's like Paul Dini writing with that thing, and basically that kind of episode prepares us for this sort of Batman and this sort of movie, where it's Batman as the straight man to this crazy situation, and that's the Batman that we kind of start out with here, and that's where things are kind of going well. We're hitting kind of the sweet spot there, and that's where you get all the potential. So we've been kind of training for a movie like this with some other episodes in the animated universe.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you think of this idea of the Super Babes restaurant or whatever it is?
I really like it, actually. I really do.
I could honestly see this being something at Universal Studios, couldn't you?
I don't know about that, but
well, I mean,
I see it.
Not necessarily like the Hooters seediness of it all, but more so, like look at the mural in the background. That totally seems like something that'd be in a theme park restaurant, you know what I mean? Like the mural of all the superheroes.
Right. It does seem like that. It does seem like that Fantastic Four kind of diner in Universal. Well, Islands of Adventure.
Right, exactly.
Anyway, but what's cool about cool about the Super Babes thing is that it's a fun commentary on the over-sexualization of comic characters.
Which Harley Quinn definitely, she does not get off scot-free in that regard.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's enough, there's enough reality, and I feel that I'm saying basically portraying that sort of place as kind of like a Hooters or a Tilton Kilton-esque place. I like that it's grounded in reality. We do have places like this, but in the DC universe,
I kind of feel like it could be a family-friendly establishment. It just has a seedy clientele. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, and again, it just feels like it's rooted in reality. So there's kind of enough reality and subtext there. That, again, if you're in the DC universe and we had places like that in that world, and of course they'd style it after like these very prominent celebrities, which are superheroes or villains too, because we have all sorts of cameos.
Yeah, like we have like Supergirl. We have I don't know.
Power Girl, Batgirl, and the Batgirl by the way looks identical to the. I think there's like a little wink to the Killing Joke and like all the controversy there because she looks exactly like the Killing. All of them look like just people who are dressed in the costumes that literally looks like Barbara Gordon. Yeah. Anyway, we got a whole bunch of other characters. I love how the foods, by the way, are named after the characters.
Oh, you know us, Dragon. We love our food animation.
Yes. Yeah, and it's also a nice build to Harley Quinn, which now we're just we're a little behind on the conversation, folks. Again, it's keeping it kind of conversational, so.
I think that should be the goal of these things anyways, so. I really like the starting point for Harley Quinn in the story being kind of like the rehabilitated Harley Quinn, where she's rehabilitated enough to be outside of crime, but as Nightwing kind of so accurately points out, like she's still on the fringe because she's like going out and hiding in broad daylight and still dressing like Harley Quinn and everything like that. You know what I mean? So she's still very much got a thirst for that lifestyle, even though she's not actively living it right now.
But at the same time, I love the explanation she gets for why she's in this. She doesn't really necessarily, based on like stuff we see in the movie, especially at the very end, she doesn't necessarily want this to be in the costume. We're going to see she has to be in the costume. That's her only option. And I love how we hit upon that. And again, it's kind of tying into the Super Babes of it all, kind of the the over-sexualization kind of commentary we have there. I think it's kind of a we'll get to that scene momentarily, but right here I want to hit upon a few things. So we got Melissa Rauch as Harley Quinn here, and I think she does a really good job. She's Bernadette on The Big Bang Theory. She was in a movie called The Bronze. She's been in things, and I think she did a really good job as Harley. She brought out.
I think she's really good, especially some of her more emotional moments.
Exactly, and that's the thing she brought to it that I really liked. We don't get a lot of with Harley Quinn. We're kind of exploring it. And see, another reason for like all the buzz around Harley Quinn is that there's a very popular Harley Quinn's very popular in comics right now. I'd imagine Suicide Squad bolstered that, but at the same time, Amanda kind of met these guys. Amanda Conner and Jimmy Palmiotti, they're the husband and wife team that work on that book, and they write it, and they do an excellent job. It's not necessarily my animated series Harley Quinn that I'm really that I kind of grew up with. At the same time, they're basically doing what they're doing here, where they're taking Harley outside of the Joker and kind of into kind of her own stuff, where she can, kind of exist and get into shenanigans on her own.
Yeah, and I think this is a good kind of like template for how to do a Harley Quinn story outside of the Joker, because, as I said, it's all about her trying to like rehabilitate herself, and that's like and that's kind of the stuff. Like if Suicide Squad was a better edited movie, I'm sure that stuff would have been put more into focus than it was. You know what I mean?
That's right. I mean, again, Margot Robbie wasn't bad as Harley Quinn either. Again,
as I've said before, the flaw, everyone knows the flaws in that movie came down to the editing, and it's kind of beating a dead horse at this point. But
exactly. So for anyone who's watching this, of course, there's an excellent action sequence that has just passed, and again, a really, really good fight scene. I think the fight scenes were well done in this film, this one especially. And you feel like the intensity. I like that she has like kind of like a weight in her bag, and I love the punctuation to this fight here, where again we don't have Joker. I like that the closest we get to Joker is the fact that she lifted some like low grade Joker toxin from it. And it's such a what I loved about this Tiki, there are so many references to the animates, there's subtle ones. With the plots, and basically kind of like various Harley Quinn episodes. And my favorite episode of that in the animators is a reference in the scene where Nightwing gets dosed, because it's a reference to Laughing Fish, where we basically have like a really cool Joker Venom reveal of someone who basically just starts randomly laughing. It's horrifying. So again, that's a little reference to one of my favorites here. I just like that we're kind of pulling from all sorts of episodes from kind of the Harley Quinn. Every episode Harley Quinn's been essentially is kind of referenced in some way in this movie, which is cool. And now this is cool too, and this also they kind of lump this in with some other stuff with Steel and Batman's dynamic here. I like that again. Batman with the scene with Sarge Steel here is that Batman's kind of showing how the Argus guys really could be better at their jobs, and we just see kind of Batman as as the great detective here is kind of going on the scene. He's just finding the things that everyone overlooked, and at the same time, he's using his detective skills to kind of blackmail Sarge. He's saying, "Wait, are you blackmailing me?" He says, "No, I caught a hacker who basically took all this sensitive information about you and your dominatrix, buddy, and I could stop that person in exchange for some information."
Yep.
Which again, and it's cool that he's just doing what he does best. And he's so in character in this first 18 minutes. That's what I'm loving.
Just kind of floating out the idea, not necessarily in a threatening way. Just kind of like, hey, by the way, this could be a possibility of happening if you don't cooperate. Just so you know, just so we're on the same page.
And again, ordinarily I would have a gripe of why Sarge is playing. So he knows it's Batman, he's going to figure it out, but at the same time, Batman just he cuts through it by just saying, "Hey, okay, do this, or I'm going to not stop this crime." He gets him on his side instantly, and I like that Sarge is a little self-correcting here, where he realizes, basically realizes his forensic guys are not good. Well, my guys are the best. Well, I mean, they're really good.
Right.
Okay, let's see. Also, we had some good animation. It was very subtle as Batman walking away, kind of the way that Cape was moving there. It's not something we usually see in the animated stuff with Batman, like some of the arms poking out.
Probably because most of the time we don't see Batman actually walking away.
That's probably good, yeah. That's probably a good point, yeah. It's part of the reason, yeah. So this scene here, this is good, because one, Lauren Lester's, again, he's showing what he does best in the Robin role here, in the Nightwing role.
Mm-hmm.
Where he, basically has that great sardonic wit about him, where he can say, "Oh golly gee," he has that great back and forth with villains and heroes and all sorts of stuff that we're getting. It's so great to hear that again from people are really excited about Nightwing for this movie because it's been ages since they've heard Lauren Lester, and many people. Nightwing was the breakout star of that series. He was really popular in New Adventures.
Yeah, there's a lot I don't know about the New Adventures era of Batman the Animated Series, so obviously you're kind of my guide when it comes to that.
They actually had a funny little reference too, because she calls him Nightwig, and basically because she references the mullet, because in that series he had a mullet. And
I kind of figured that mullet was like a reference. Yeah,
I want to say he only had the mullet in the animated series. I don't know if he had long hair anywhere else. So,
yeah. So Dragon, I'm curious. You mentioned before we went on air the 18-minute point, and I'm checking my timestamp, and we're about there.
Yes, let me cover the thing because it's a little bit about the past in a few.
All right,
I'm just going to talk over it, but basically it passes right after she says whatever.
Okay.
So here's the thing. So I in this scene, I love that this is what Melissa Rouse is really bringing to the role here. Basically, Harley Quinn saying to Nightwing's kind of passing judgment on her, saying, "Hey, you're on the fringes here. You want to wear a costume. You could get work elsewhere." And she shows all the rejection letters saying, "Hey, I tried to work as a doctor. They won't hire ex-cons, let alone ex-crazy cons."
Right.
And then he's getting and then she's showing here are the job offers I have gotten as a sex object, which again, and you understand, you feel sympathy for Harley Quinn, and you get this great moment from Melissa Rauch where she's saying, whatever, she takes a pause, just taking it all in, I'm not happy with my life right now. Whatever. Again, she's passing off, getting back in the Harley Quinn mode. But then, again, after she's made that great point, again, there's a lot of potential here for the commentary and kind of the over-sexualization. Who cares? I'm not saying you get on a soapbox or anything, but to kind of bring that up, which we never really do with Harley Quinn or any characters for that matter. We bring that up with her. Then, literally a second after that line, hey, over-sexualization.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that too. And this whole thing, Dragon, I really wasn't sure how to feel about it because I'm really not familiar with this Nightwing's characterization. But I don't know. I could see this being sort of it's clearly obviously not on the same level of betrayal as something like the Killing Joke thing that we shall not speak of, but it just seems a little out of nowhere, especially because, like you said, it's just kind of we just got over this whole empowering, not
some really smart writing on Harley. Right. Basically, she's completely contradicting herself. Which
also, can I just say I love the Barbie closet filled with different Harley costumes.
Yes, I love all the variants. It was really clever. So, Yeah, honestly, for me, I think I'm a little more for I'm not. I still have problems with it. I'm a little forgiving on a different element of it than I was before. Before I was just like, again, why do we have to over sexualize her here? But then I was realizing, you know what? It's in Nightwing's character. He's the ladies' man. He and Harley Quinn. They kind of their characters are kind of buddy buddy in this movie a little bit more than she is a Batman. That's kind of like a jumping off point for him.
Right,
Nightwing is
right.
very much Nightwing's like, and I like how they poke fun at it. He's Captain Kirking her. He's very much, he's this guy. He's romancing. He's very much. People have called him a man whore. I don't know. I think it's kind of a mean way of putting it, but he's he's a ladies' man. He's Starfire. He had all sorts of women and women are very attracted to him. He's kind of he's the male sex symbol of the DC universe. So
God.
Kind of been referred to as he's very much kind of the women love Nightwing. Everyone loves Nightwing, honestly. The point is that it feels in character for him, but at the same time, it just feels like Harley Quinn's just really undercutting her point. Just seems really, really random.
Yeah, it's like okay. So I guess for me, the thing that made me uncomfortable was I wasn't sure if Nightwing would go along with it or not. I guess now that you've provided some context, I guess it makes more sense that he would. But yeah, I agree. It's definitely not. It feels like something that would be in character for Harley, if not for the fact that she just had that good speech. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
exactly, because we've seen her do stuff like that with Deadshot in the Assault and Arkham movie, which is fine. And again, she's kind of outside of the Joker. She can sleep with people.
Right, exactly.
And also, by the way, here I love this little subtle thing. I love Batman is great in the scene. Again, I will say this. So again, even this stuff isn't really bad. It's just kind of undercut the importance of Harley Quinn scene. We don't really circle back to any of that good stuff she was kind of laying out. But at the same time, Batman's still wonderfully characterized in this scene where he's just coming there. He's actually concerned about Nightwing. He was about to break down the door, and again, he said no, Nightwing's going to be fine. He's telling that to Sarge, and he comes down here because again he's concerned about him because he cares about this kid, and then he realizes he's been screwing around. That's what he's been doing. And
I love how we see him like visually put the pieces together.
Yes, right. Again, I love seeing him as a detective. That's awesome. And again, we are tributing the animated series.
You two kids have been drinking coffee, haven't you?
and again, I love that we are paying great tribute to the animated series with a lot of bits like that throughout this movie. And of course, let's speak of one of the greatest tributes that delighted me so much, my favorite Batmobile.
Yeah. Like, I mean, obviously, I don't have the same sort of encyclopedic knowledge of different Batmobiles as you do, Dragon. But hey, I'm glad it did it for you, man.
I'm just saying they could have gone with they didn't go with the New Adventures Batmobile. They went with the coolest one, which is the original one. I'm so pleased. And again, they're styled like Batman and Nightwing are in the New Adventures style.
See, that's what I'm saying about like the different sort of like kind of like an in between the original animated series and
exactly. So it's. Again, I just put that kind of just saying it's a great tribute to the animated series. So it's all good. We can have all of it in there, not worry about where it fits in. Maybe the other Batmobile's in the shop, and it is just between New Adventures and Justice League. Who cares? Oh yeah. So and again, basically what we do here, this is very much kind of the 48 hours of it all. Here's the buddy movie kind of premise here, where they're gonna take Harley along for the ride. And again, very Harley Quinn-ade, only Harley Quinn-ade did it better.
I really like that title. It's just really absurdist. Harley Quinn-ade. It's like, what?
Yep. When you have Harley Quinns, make Harley Quinn-ade.
Oh, God.
And again, like right here is some stuff here when she's getting.
Oh, God, we're about to get to it, aren't we?
We're all no, not yet. After the chase and after the chase together, then we do.
Dragon, I literally have anxiety over being embarrassed by watching that scene right now. Okay, that's how bad it is.
It is, but we'll get there. But I like the fact that we addressed like you always have to enter next to the Batmobile with a flourish, because you can't just open the door because the Batmobile doesn't have doors; it just has the roof, and like she's having trouble getting in.
Mm-hmm.
I like that, and then again, I like that we're the closest thing we have to kind of Harley Quinn commenting on the over sexualization is when she's making fun of Nightwing for Captain Kirking her through the whole movie, which I'll give it that. I do like that, and that kind of buys back that moment a little bit for me as it goes on.
Sure.
Mainly on the rewatch, I'm kinder to that because of the other stuff gets my wrath a little bit more.
Oh, especially one particular moment.
Yeah, we're getting there.
One moment.
We'll get there.
All right.
Anyway, there was a line, by the way, that Harley Quinn. She says, "Why is there's a little psychology joke in there? I don't know if it's a joke, but Batman says, I don't make deals with psychopaths. It's sociopaths. Seriously, how hard is that? I actually looked into this, Teak. I think Batman's right. An argument could be made that she's more in line with a psychopath than a sociopath. So,
it's a fine line. It's a fine line.
Yes, and again, basically, there is the plot here very much again, very much like Harley Quinn. We're going to use Harley Quinn, a connection to Poison Ivy, to find Poison Ivy, and Harley Quinn claims to know one of Ivy's henchmen. So that's going to be kind of, maybe he knows where Ivy's going, where Ivy's holed up in.
Mm-hmm.
And here we go. So here's here's Harley Quinn's former prom date, or former abandonee.
Oh God.
It's Bobby Leibowitz. So I want to mention this. So another thing Melissa Rauch is kind of bringing to the character, and we've kind of hinted at with some humorous stuff in this. Like again, when we're going like the old woman and the husband saying Morty. Literally, that scene right there, that has to be a direct reference to The Nanny, because Fran Drescher's father was named Morty, and her mother was always screaming off screen with that sort of voice. Saying, Morty. and again, they've had some reference to Fran Drescher here and there on the. They had a reference to her once in the New Adventures, and I'm not saying that's like directly influencing this, but what I am saying is that I feel we get a very much of a New Yorker Harley Quinn in this, and it feels very much like a girl from Brooklyn or a girl from Flushing, Queens, like the Nanny. It's kind of like you have very kind of Nanny-esque Harley Quinn. And I kind of like that.
I also
that's very much what she's
like
saying.
This,
very much.
I feel like this movie definitely took some sensibilities from Return of the Caped Crusaders. Not so much in terms of like obviously like replicating the 60s Batman style, but more sort of like in the lighter tone and the pacing and everything.
Yeah, and there was sort of a tonal follow-up to Killing Joke. They did really, again, I'm not gonna split hairs about Killing Joke. Let's just say the fact of the matter is it's based on a very dark Batman story, and they wanted to go in a lighter direction for this one. So they go from dark, go to light.
Makes sense.
There's no way this guy could jump that many rooftops,
God,
by the way.
I know, right?
Yes, Batman and Catwoman, I'd buy into that. This guy, come on, I'm not saying he's out of shape, but at the same time, it's like I don't know how many rooftops he has to jump up. He has to reach higher to the rooftops. Not possible.
No, I agree.
Yeah. By the way, in that Nightwing Harley Quinn fight, as well as in this rooftop chase, I like that we're showcasing Harley Quinn's kind of acrobatics and her gymnastic ability, which also made for an excellent fight between her and Nightwing, because Nightwing, of course, being an acrobat, her being kind of a gymnast. I mean, yeah, sure. I'm just saying, they're both very agile. Like, where Batman, basically, Nightwing has over Batman, agility and the acrobatism. The kind of very agile. He can basically catch himself before he falls. He like a cat, will never land on his feet. I mean, he'll never land on his back. Type of thing.
Right. Oh God, is this it?
Okay, so at what?
I actually really like this moment. This moment's great.
Now. Now, again, Teague, I'm going to say this.
Exactly the type of stuff I wanted to see more of from this movie.
Now, Teague, I'm going to tell you this. This scene is taken from Harley Quinnade. It's done better in Harley Quinnade, but that's it. So Kevin Conroy, by the way, he loves he loves angry Batman Harley Quinn scenes, where Batman's angry at Harley Quinn. So those were he had two of those scenes in this movie, where Batman gets to chew at Harley Quinn a little. And so those are probably his favorite scenes. I want to say they emanated from making Harley Quinn, where he got to really chew at Harley, because oh my God, there's a scene in Harley Quinn where he basically pulls over the car and we'll see what happens.
I mean, it's
basically
such like
stops, the car stops.
It's such like a stern and fed up father, right? It's like, don't make me pull this car over.
That's the thing. That's how it was. He's basically, he just has this great thing where it says, "You don't say anything, do anything, or touch anything unless I say so." Got it? That's how it went in Harley Quinn. It was amazing. You can rewatch it a couple times. Like, just that moment. It's like, oh my God, he's so angry. And it's kind of tapping into that here a little bit. Again, it doesn't capture the magic as well, but it's still just setting up Batman just as the straight man to Harley Quinn's craziness. And unfortunately, that goes out the window in a few seconds.
Yep, here we go.
So again, folks,
God.
Here's how you know it's coming. When you see Bloodhaven, that's when you know it's happening.
Yep.
When you see the Bloodhaven sign.
Oh, man. You want to just provide some context for the viewers, Dragon?
All right, folks. I saw this scene, unfortunately, before I saw the movie, and like a little clip just kind of surfaced.
Just describe what it is. You have to tell them what it is.
Essentially, folks, we have a really forced joke about flatulence. Harley Quinn, she has had the Hawk Girl spicy wings, and they're doing a tango in her tummy. According to her. Oh, God, so bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there it is. There's your Kevin Conroy Batman just dying like in one line, Dragon.
Yeah, folks, I'll tell you, it's very. Here's the thing. Kevin Conroy has this line where he says, as she's kind of. Sorry, as she's.
I mean, as we said, folks, as we keep going on about this, is like easily.
This is the scene we hate in this movie.
It's the worst moment in the whole movie, and the whole it only lasts like about a minute, but being in there is just so embarrassing and just face palmy and it's a very bad moment. It's very random. Kevin Conroy has a line that is just the weirdest, most out of character line I've ever heard him deliver as Batman. That sounds not like Bruce Wayne, not like Batman, not even like Kevin Conroy. I took 5 minutes to process this scene after I watched because I was like almost shell shocked. I was processing. Was that real? Did I just see some? What was that? Or as Dylan would say, what was that?
It was like a specter in the night. It's like, did I just see what I thought I saw? Is this a ghost of what Batman is? What is this? Where he has the line, it's terrible, and I'm lingering on because it's like the worst part of the movie, folks. It's just when again, the gas, I guess, is filling the car, and basically he has this line where Nightwing, of course, is reacting to Batman being Batman. He doesn't initially react to it, and he has a stupid line. He says, the weirdest line, it's not so bad. A moment passes. It smells like discipline. Oh, that kills me. That line literally hurts me every time I hear it. It really does.
All right, we could just pretend it doesn't exist and move on, Dragon. We've harped on it enough.
That's the scene I would chase around the editing room with scissors if I could see. After all the times in life Batman has brought me joy, I wish I could help him out in that moment, but I couldn't, Tiki. I just couldn't.
Okay, so let's talk about these creepy ass fucking twins, man. I can't stand these twins. They are so unsettling. They are so unsettling to me.
Let me say this, though. I do love, and again, pulling from Harley Quinn because basically they go to a nightclub in that episode, and here we go to a henchman dive bar. I love the henchman dive bar because we get all these wonderful... It's not perfect, but I just love the premise of it. There's a henchman little dive bar club. They pull so faithfully from the animated series with the designs. I was amazed. And this to me was like candy. This is like kind of that broken cookie part of it here and there. It's like, these like the crumbs that are caught in the spoiled cream. It's like,
oh god.
Seriously, I mean, bits like they pulled those designs right from the episodes I love, and they were in the original animated series designs and also the new adventure designs flawlessly. And I was like, oh my god! And I know all of these characters. And again, a lot of them shouldn't have been there. Like Ubu, the right hand to Ra's al Ghul, should not be in that bar.
Right.
Because Ubu's awesome, and he would never. It's ridiculous.
Seriously, we're burying the lead on how creepy these fucking twins are.
Again, the twins are specifically, they were the henchmen of Two-Face in the first Two-Face episode, in the part 2 of the Two-Face episode.
Can I just tell you what's so creepy about this scene to me that just puts me off? It feels like the way this scene is animated, and this might just be completely me, it feels like these twins are like singing this love song to each other. Like it's like a love song duet. I think it's really, really off-putting to me the way it's animated and everything.
I'll give you that. I see where you're coming from on that. There is some suggestive framing here.
Right.
But yeah, I want to say this though. Out of the two songs, I do enjoy that one more because Rob Paulsen does a good job singing.
Rob Paulsen has a great singing voice, man. I mean, he knocks it out of the park. It's just the animation is unsettling.
So let me address this because we really had two songs that just they go way longer than they should. Because essentially,
what the hell is up with this? Why do we need this?
Let me explain. So again, this is another thing. This directly is from Harley Quinn. They go to a club and then she sings on stage. And here's the difference, though. While that's happening, it's a cool club. It's an old-fashioned, like kind of 40s nightclub. Robin's coming to the rescue, and Batman's just like he's reacting to her silly kind of screwball antics while she's singing the song. Yeah, and that's great. Here, it's like it's a kind of some sort of vague rock and roll song. It's not that good. I mean, that's my
It's
taste.
really not that good at all. I mean, like
some
for as
people
much
like
as
it, I don't.
for as much as I didn't like the animation on the other song, I think the other song is a way better just as a song. Like I would put that song on my iPod way sooner than I'd put this song on my iPod.
Because here she's doing all sorts of like.
Oh, I hate
really
the
over-sexualized
tit jiggling. I hate the tit jiggling. I can't stand that.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, now
The bat dance
there's
is
so
funny.
much good. And I'll take a moment here because again, here's the problem here. These songs go on way too long. They got to cut them off at a certain point. Or at the very least, have like the fight going on while Harley's singing her song here. They should be fighting these guys instead of saving it for the end. But I don't know. I'm mixed on this henchman thing because I love the bar with the henchman. I love seeing the old designs, but
they just do shit all with it though.
That's the thing. We don't see like a big old fight scene. We don't like half of them shouldn't be there.
Like this should totally be the equivalent to the game show scene in Return of the Cape Crusaders. You know what I mean?
Well, to be fair, the game show. Do you mean the TV scene?
Yeah.
We haven't seen the games. That's in the second one, Tiki.
Well, whatever scene in it's been a while since I've seen that movie, but
when they're shooting yeah, I know. Like the multi-Batman scene, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Let's see. There's so many.
Oh, she dropped the mic. She's so edgy, Dragon.
It's impossible for me to go through all these villains that we have. Just trust me when I say they're very faithful.
Is Maven
all
in
left.
I think I saw
Maven is in there. Yes, Maven's in there.
I get a cookie. Yay.
Yes, you get a cookie crumb. Now here's my favorite. One of my I'm just overcome with all these my favorites. Like some of them shouldn't be. Like two of them are robots.
Oh God.
Captain, you remember Captain Clown, don't you? You remember Captain Clown, the giant kind of pirate-looking clown.
Kind of, yeah.
You know the sea captain-looking pirate. Looking clown. Oh, I keep saying pirate. Okay, let me acknowledge this here. So again, I love this scene with Batman though. This to me was great. I love it here where he downs the milk. And he takes off the belt. He just throws it on the ground saying, hey, I'm not even going to use my gadgets. That to me is terrifying if I were a villain. I love that.
I hear you.
A part of me is fine without seeing the fight because we know where it's going just based on that. And him saying, let's dance, that moment to me is so freaking awesome. It's like pumping my fists in the air. That's my Batman right there. That's how you have fun with. That's having fun with Batman while still having him as the straight man because he's still in character. Pushed a little bit, and like Batman smiling afterwards. That's one of the rare things in life that'll give Batman joy. Drinking milk, punching a bunch of bad guys. I think gives Batman a little bit of joy in life. And now this is how you invent the stupid farting scene. This is how they bond. This I can get behind.
Right. What do you think of the whole use of the the 60s Batman style, like pow, biff?
Again, I don't mind it because I really like the lead up with Batman. I mean, I would have liked to see the fight, but at the same time, we know it's after that.
I don't mind not seeing the fight. I think doing the word balloon things like 60s Batman, like, do we ever do that in regular animated series stuff?
In regular animated series, no.
Yeah, that's the thing. To me, it feels out of place.
Well, maybe one. There was one time actually we did just once when they did in the 60s style. So that's why I was like one.
Also,
time.
I really don't like. Ow, my balls.
Honestly, I don't know. Part of me also might have liked to see it happen. Then we could have had like this extra violent ones playing, but they probably worried it was going to be too much like Cape Crusaders, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, that is the best. The best
again,
scene in Cape Crusaders is when they have like the extra violent fight scene.
See, well, we got some plot going on here. Just wanted to see if I could highlight a lot of good ones. We had a lot of random ones too. Like Farmer Brown's daughter was there. We had Ricky the Hook out of the hook for a hand. We had like two androids, from the Hardak episode, and we had two robots dance with each other. We had Maven, we have Nitro, and Crocker. Again, I love they went really obscure. Like season 1 Batman the animated series, they went really obscure with some of these guys. Like Crocker and Nitro, you're going to meet soon, Tiki. It's like, oh.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah, we had the Calendar Girl, Chippendale henchman. We had Candace. You remember Candace?
Vaguely.
Rupert Thorne's hench girl, the one. Yeah, we had, and of course we pulled from Cape Crusaders with Catwoman's henchmen. They're the ones who the drunken one that got, they sent Batman the milk, and they got the whole, did the Bat 2C next to him.
Right.
So yeah, a lot of points like henchmen from all over. So yeah. Yes.
All right. So what's going on with the plot?
Because right now, they are realizing they need the actual swamp water from the Swamp Thing origin, so they can kind of make their thing work. Because basically, this is what's going to sustain their turning all life into plant life.
Mm-hmm.
And bear in mind, folks, I like the stakes that, again, if they get one thing wrong with this, as they just did before they got the Swamp Thing water, again, had they just gone forward with the plan, somehow if that mouse didn't explode, if that plant mouse didn't explode, they would have done that, and that would have been the whole human race ending up like that. So we get to see the danger of if these guys get one thing wrong, not only will we be plants, we'll be dead plants.
I always like setup like that, right? Where we see the danger of the weapon that the villain's using. I think the classic example is the dip from Roger Rabbit.
Oh, yeah, sure. Oh, yes. Perfect. Yeah. No, you're right. I'm sorry. It's just the perfect example.
Yeah, no, I just really like. I really like that as like a narrative device. You know, it's always very effective. If you ever went to Alien Encounter at Disney World, they did a very similar thing, showing off the dangers of the portal technology before you get into the main show, where they basically transport this cute little alien, and then he gets transported into another tube, and he comes out as like a gnarly alien.
Right.
Anyway,
let's see. There's also something to address here is that, again, on the whole, I think Kevin Connor's performing this Batman like he does the Justice League Batman, and I like that he calls the Watchtower, and we talk to Booster Gold, who is, by the way, voiced by Bruce Timm.
Mm-hmm.
And do you like the sign language gag where he's just signaling the Batman, like, no, basically his opinions on the kind of the low level heroes that basically Booster Gold's thrown at him?
Yeah, it's fine. I don't dislike it.
I think at the end, or he's just saying, like, to Booster Gold himself, no. You gotta just, it's Batman just saying, no, Booster, we're fine. Okay, fun. Okay, so we have, again, some good action going on here. Again, Bruce Timm's also kind of, again, his animated, the animated style here. I'm not saying, I don't know if he did this one himself. He always said he likes doing, he likes boarding the sequences where people really hate each other.
Mm-hmm.
So this doesn't really feel like that, but at the same time, it's just really well executed action, I feel, and I like that it's interrupted by the fire here, and we see the Florrick Man is a formidable foe.
Yeah, he is a good pull as like an obscure villain. He connects to Swamp Thing a little bit. Obviously, he can pair up with Poison Ivy. He was a good. Is he a comic character? I really don't know. I'm sure he is.
Florrick Man is a comic character. I want to say there was an older version, and they redid him, and they made him a little cooler when they redid him. They basically tied him into Poison Ivy's origin and also Swamp Thing's origin. Basically, the idea is he was a university professor that taught Alec Holland and taught Pamela Isley all they know before they became Swamp Thing, Poison Ivy.
Makes sense.
So he was their teacher, and again, whether he was the real backstory is like he's from like a different dimension, which they reference here. He's from the plant dimension.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird stuff. Don't ask. Trust me.
No, I get it.
We get into Swamp Thing stuff with that. Where you have like plant dimensions.
Right.
And it's weird.
Oh God.
Just thinking, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's hard to explain. Like also the Swamp Thing. I haven't really read enough of the Alan Moore stuff. I've also heard it's like explaining God to people, explaining the Swamp Thing stuff.
Fair enough.
Like when they have like these little references to the green and to the
kind of sounds like someone like explaining the Stephen King extended universe. It's just like, wait, what? There's like a giant turtle who controls everything, and he's like the antagonist to Pennywise. What?
Essentially, it's that. So like all the deep cut Swamp Thing, and I respect how deep cut they went with this, and especially again like Swamp Thing, Alec Holland.
I'm sorry, Dragon.
Really
put that on hold for just a sec. I really love this scene. It's just great.
This is a really
it's great to see the humanity in Harley Quinn, and to me, Dragon, by far the best line in the movie is when Harley says, "This is where she's comforting the doctor who's dying," and Harley says, "Oh look, it's Batman. He'll save ya." It's such a beautiful line, man, because it's just like she, it kind of goes with the, the daughter, the stern father and the, and the wild daughter. It's like, beneath all the wild facade, she has a respect for Batman. She knows that Batman is the best person for this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what I really love is kind of this really sweet thing she has at the end here. She says, when you get up there, look up my bubby, look up her grandmother, Fran Quinzel. You two might hit it off. That to me was really that's the moment for me. What you're talking about, that really hit me. Like, oh man, it's seeing these nice compassion moments with Harley Quinn here being kind of the good doctor again for a moment.
Yeah,
we're
for
seeing
sure.
Kind of that human side of Harley Quinn, which again I think Melissa Rauch really kind of brings to it very, very well.
Yeah, she does in this moment,
it's a powerful scene.
And there's one other monologue towards the end of the movie that I think she really, really nails, but we'll get into that later.
Melissa Rauch really knows how to riff as Harley.
She
too,
does.
By the way,
she
while we're hitting kind of the drama of it all, she riffs again, very much like Fran Drescher. I gotta tell you.
God.
So let's see. So again, this is cool too. Again, we're using Swamp Thing yams, which I didn't know he could create. But again, I know very little about Swamp Things. The point is, we use Swamp Thing yams to use the green, which is just broadly all I can gather based on what we're seeing. The green, it allows you to travel through plants. That's all I'm going to dwell on with the green. I don't know if it's I think it's like a Doctor Strange thing.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
I think
they have to get somewhere quick, so they'll travel through the plants. I can buy into that.
Sure, I can buy into it. I'm just saying. I think I'm just going to guess it's like the green's like some sort of Doctor Strange infinite dimension thing. I don't need to know. Just
right.
They glow green.
It's kind of like one of those things like when we talked to Jacob Gulliver about Doctor Strange, and he knows way more than we do.
So, by the way, I just want to take a moment here because we completely glazed over in the opening because we're getting sidetracked with a bunch of stuff. Paget Brewster, I think, is a good. I enjoy Paget Brewster. She's been in a few of the things we've watched. Actually, she's done a good job. She voiced Lana Lang in The Dark Knight Returns. She voiced Lois Lane in Just Like Gods and Monsters. Not the most amazing job, but she was decent in that. And Paget Brewster's just on the whole, she's a good actress, and I think she was a really good pick for Poison Ivy, because the voice actress we had for Poison Ivy, I want to say, she's still around, but the voice has aged, so it's kind of like how Arlene Sorkin retired from Harley Quinn, she retired from Poison Ivy, so we do have, I think we have a good new Poison Ivy in Paget Brewster if they wanted to bring her back, honestly.
Yeah, she's pretty good.
Yeah, and again, honestly, I think she comes alive most when she has scenes. I wanted more depth with her because she kind of just.
I wanted more. I feel like it's a missed opportunity to only have a couple scenes with her and Ivy.
Yes, and that's
I feel like that should have been more of a driving force of the movie.
Yes,
much like Ivy and Joker should have been a driving force of Suicide Squad. You know what I mean? It's like they keep messing up Ivy having the main, having too little of a relationship to the main villain. I mean, don't get me wrong. This isn't nearly as bad as Suicide Squad, but
right. I mean, also here let's see with yeah.
Well, what?
Sorry, I'm just trying to find my thoughts here. Ivy. Oh yes. But honestly,
water.
What?
I said. Harley's got the bottle of water, and I was just going to riff because you were struggling. I was like, "Oh, drink piggy water."
Anyway, so the thing with thing about Ivy is that if they wanted to do more with Harley and Ivy, honestly, there was a comic series done by Bruce Timm and Paul Dini called Harley and Ivy, and honestly, it's in the same exact style as this.
I could see them making a movie of that.
Honestly, that's what I'd love them to see do for a sequel, and of course,
preferably if Dini comes back, that'd be the best case scenario.
That's the thing. I'd only want to see that if Dini came back, honestly, to do that.
Right.
And again, they wrote that story. They'd be adapting that story, which again, we kind of been lying. And honestly, I think these movies do best when they kind of adapt stuff anyway.
Sure. Yeah, to a certain extent.
You know what I mean. I'm saying compared to you haven't seen any of the in-continuity stuff.
No, you're right. I haven't seen it. I'm just saying like Return of the Cape Crusaders is an original, and so.
Well, I'm sure. I'm speaking. Okay, it's fine. Well, I mean, it's adapting the '60s back.
Yeah, that's true. It is adapting something. Fair enough.
Plus, we know the next one is literally adapting a Two-Face script. So I mean, that's
right. Fair point. Anyways.
Yeah. Let's see. So again, we have some really good meta jokes here too. Where honestly, I love that the vehicles in this seem to be hand drawn, if not like finally they figured out the CG on the vehicles. And then the Batwing enters, and it's very obviously CG, and I think that's intentional.
I could see that being intentional. Yeah.
The reason for that is back in one of the movie, not Phantasm, but in Batman Sub-Zero and Batman Sub-Zero, the big Mr. Freeze movie.
I've actually seen that one, believe it or not.
Oh, they had they had the very obviously CG was like, hey, we're showing the effects off with the Batman. Right. In my heart of hearts, I like to think it's a clever homage to that, but at the very least, it's an homage to the fact they've been criticized for CG vehicles, and they did hand-drawn, awesome-looking vehicles up to this point. So at least they got one in there. Like,
well, I also get the fact that, like, the fact that this is by far the most advanced and, like this is the most technologically advanced vehicle that we've seen in the film, so therefore it would make sense to have the most sleek look.
Yeah. I love this here, Batman, again, being very much in character, he's throwing facts in Ivy's face. You're saying, I can't trust you. And he knows that double cross is coming. He feels it in his bones. He knows it.
Okay, but here comes the best Melissa Rauch monologue, though. I love this moment.
I'll never survive a veggie apocalypse.
God. No, it's just the desperation in her voice for Batman's approval. Like I said, it goes back to that whole, the disapproving father and the wild daughter. You know what I mean?
It cracks me up when she kneels down and she's like crying into the cape. Please, Mr. Kind Batman, sir. Like, please, Mr. Kind of Scary Batman, but he's not because he really has a heart of gold. Something like that. I like that she refers to the Florrick Man as tree guy. It's ridiculous. Mr. Kind of
you might see the comedy in this. I think the scene is filled with pathos. I mean, I think this scene is like a kind of a big deconstruction of Harley's whole character in some ways.
Well, no, I think the beginning, as I'm saying with you, I think there's definitely some comedy in there towards the. Yeah, I mean, at the very end, it was like, oh, you feel sympathy for the kid, but at the same time, like Batman's kind of painted into a corner where Nightwing says, and I love it, is Nightwing using Batman's own logic against him here, saying, you always say have a contingency plan, but then Batman is calling him on. So your plan B is Harley Quinn. So again, like this is where I wanted to hit for the whole movie, and we hit it predominantly for the movie. And again, Kevin Conroy, he's still doing well. This where he's again playing, and this is what he loves to do. You can put the great thing about the way he played Batman, Teague, is that you can put this Batman in any situation, he will remain himself, and you get all sorts of comedy from the reactions. Basically, people are trying to impress Batman. Whatever they do around Batman, just kind of acting as he would, just kind of playing it straight.
Mm-hmm.
To me, like the most we push him in that scene is like he looks up as, oh God, help us. Again, that's like the most you take Batman out of character. You have like a few clever bits, like this one coming up here where me being the big gadget fan, I have Batman. I love this whole. She's being eaten alive by mosquitoes, and she asks for bug spray, and again, me having cataloged all these animated series gadgets.
Oh God,
this is I just love the fact that she calls him on the fact you don't have simple bug spray and Batman
right.
The fact that she kind of catches Batman with his pants down on this one, it cracked me up. So I was laughing so hard at this one. Then he said, and this is the thing that cracked me up with a straight delivery. Just insecure. He says you're probably just low in vitamin B. Some Boy Scout you turned out to be.
I feel like we don't get enough comedy out of the whole like Batman like having specialized stuff for everything, like the bat.
Not the straightforward stuff.
Right. Like I don't know. I feel like more comedy could be mined from that whole thing than it is.
That's just the thing again.
Like just from a psychological level, you know what I mean? From like a narcissistic sort of like, Batman has to have everything in his arsenal named after him. Like I could see that. I could see that being kind of a fun sort of Freudian thing.
I just love the fact that Batman, he has an answer for everything, but when she confronts him with that, he doesn't have an answer for it. That to me is great. That's the comedy I want to see versus Smells Like Discipline. Ugh.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying?
Part of me just hopes that the studio was like, hey, it would be great, put a fart joke in there.
God. And again, here's some more comments not doing it for me here, where she's referencing something that we didn't really see at all, where like Nightwing's had like an off like an out of scene joke that we're calling back to. How are we supposed to get that joke?
Right.
I mean, again, it just seems really random. We have random humor like the fart joke, and just kind of random jokes or stuff that just feels like really odd choices here and there. Kind of that kind of of really takes the film off its foundation, kind of spins the film, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Oh yeah, I think we're about to hit upon some of your fears in this this coming scene.
Are we?
Well, giant carnivorous plants and stuff.
Oh, right.
Well, again, it's kind of a standard with poison ivy, but
God.
I love the animation on poison ivy too. By the way, doing really good here. And honestly, it's never been my favorite poison ivy thing, when she's kind of a plant person, but still, I think it's a good representation of that version of her.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of think it's interesting that the final element of the plot is the plant version of poison ivy versus the, as I said, that's kind of a big, like I said, it's kind of like the two different versions of, the original animated series and the new adventure series. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the revamp. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, this song again, I hate to keep coming back to this, but again, it's very obviously, and they're pulling from Harley Quinn 8, where of course Batman just gives her an inch, and then she double crosses him. But eventually she finds her way back, and in this case, this was part of a plan she had. She wanted to test the water, see if she could, stop Ivy before they fought her, which again was kind of the original arrangement she was going for.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah, Harley making it work her own way. And again, what we're hitting upon here is, again, it's fodder for a sequel I'd love to see, assuming Paul Dini comes back. Again, these two together, they're wonderful together. Again, the animated series paired them up for an episode, and ever since that, they realized they struck gold. Harley and Ivy are the best of pals in the world here. We gotta keep them together. Like they're Laurel and Hardy, but, like kind of a Laurel Harley meets Thelma Louise.
Mm. Oh, this is a great sort of like the, please, honey baby, please.
This riff I like better than the other ones. Like, this one just cracks me up, just how desperate, like she turns on a dime. And like says, "Oh yeah, I brought these guys here for," and she's whispering to her so Florrick Man doesn't hear. Please, come to your senses, Pammy. I don't want to be green.
Right.
Again, here Harley again kind of doing the right thing here with the the weed killer. And now let me hit upon a big problem I have with this stuff here. So again, I understand that we poked fun, Batman not not having the basic necessities here, having the basic gadgets. But seriously though, she had the weed killer and not him. Batman of all people, God is prepared. I mean, it's not just like Batman. I understand, like, it's not just Batman going into battle fresh, just like not knowing, because it's kind of, you learn about your enemy before you combat your enemy. He's had an altercation with him. Okay, realizes Florrick Man. You'd think, okay, we're traveling to Louisiana. I'm gonna pack Alfred. Give me some bug spray. Give me some weed killer. You'd think, and that bugs me. The ending of this movie bugs me because why didn't Batman think of that earlier? Because again,
the ending of this movie is kind of a giant fuck you to logic in some ways.
I mean, I like it. I'm so mixed on the endings. I like it, but at the same time,
it's really well timed. It's a fun gag, but like I said, it kind of undercuts the whole movie.
It's cute, but it's a big logic hole.
Right.
Because seriously, in the comic, and one of the great comics where Batman goes up against Swamp Thing, he has enough sense for us. I'm going to need a flamethrower and some weed killer.
Exactly.
Again, the two main things you use to fight plant life.
It's like, wait a minute, he's all leafy and whatnot, right? Oh God! I'm sorry, just giant carnivorous plant mixed with a snake. Oh,
well, remember, she had the lollipop thing. That's what that's in reference to. She had a lollipop in her mouth, and the stick turned into that once.
Right.
And here's my other thing that basically feeds into that. Again, the fight with the Florrick Man the first time I liked because there was a kind of fire interrupted him, and the point is it was a fight that was interrupted. But think about it, and I hate kind of being that guy bringing this sort of thing up, but very logically, Batman's a guy. He's going up against Bane. He's going up against Ra's al Ghul.
Batman is supposed to be the world's greatest detective, and yet it takes Harley Quinn to be like, "Hey, anybody got a match?"
I mean, yes, there's that, but at the same time, he's going up against these great, like, again, two of the most masterful fighters out there, and the Florrick Man of all people is giving him this much trouble.
I mean, that doesn't really bother me that much, because this guy does seem like a pretty formidable foe. I mean, he is, he's got, like, the great power sets and everything, and he's pretty damn bulky, so I could see Batman struggling with this guy. Oh, fucking carnivorous plant. Oh, God.
I'm sorry, Dragon.
And these guys are dying. It's not just like
I know.
Batman being the threat of Batman being evil. They're actually. I want to point out we actually get to use the S-bomb in this movie.
I mean, I don't necessarily think that's some sort of like.
No, I'm just saying that they've been a little shy of using that. Basically, they're finally kind of earning their PG-13 ratings and stuff. So they've been actually using the S. They've always kind of teased it like they're actually kind of using some. That still have not used the F-bomb. I don't know why, but yeah.
Oh God!
I don't mean for you to use it, but okay.
I'm sorry, folks. I'm just reacting to the carnivorous plants because, as we already established when we talked about the first Poison Ivy episode in our Batman the Animated Series retrospective. Oh, that is definitely one of the phobias I have. That and giant spiders, Dragon. Giant carnivorous plants, the giant spiders.
I want to say this. So with the fight between these two, I do like that I enjoyed that. And I'm finding the wrong words here. I think the breast punch was smart with these two. That is the wrong way of putting that. I know. I'm just saying. In the fight,
that is the wrong way of putting that, Dragon. Yeah, you better search harder for those words.
Sorry. This movie's going by really fast, folks.
I know it's got a breakneck pace to it. I'll give it that much.
What I'm saying is, like in the fight, we continue to have some good fight scenes going on here. I think again we're a little bit kind of repetitive with kind of the Batman Robin versus the Florrick Man. Basically, when we include the soldiers in there getting eaten left and right by the giant carnivorous plants. Not bad, just a little repetitive. But with these two, I like that we're kind of keeping it interesting. The fact that it's like that's a funny way of kind of using the over sexualization. It's not over sexualizing them at all, which is kind of why it's good. It's that
right. I hear you.
It's like, these two are really having it. Like this, it feels like a Harley Ivy gag that we would get in the comic. That's what I like about it. It's just like they're just gonna punch you. Like, hey, you punched me, I'm gonna punch you there too.
right.
Instead of like her on stage, like shaking it to everyone, just like them kind of in a fight. And realistically, in a fight, you're gonna punch everywhere.
Why did they have to do that? Oh God.
You see what I mean? That's what I meant by it's smarter than that. Not
the really awful cream, Dragon. This movie's got some really bad cream.
It's expired cream.
Yep. Okay.
Now, this is nice here. This is feeding to that Harley and Ivy thing I'm liking about this here. This, to me, I thought was brilliant. This is hilarious to me, where these two just... it's so... I love the nuclear option being this look that Harley gives. Kim possibly would call it the puppy dog pal.
Oh, God.
Just basically Harley giving kind of this Formiga look to her.
Oh, it's so Formiga. Oh, God.
And it's just, it's hilarious. And this is why Harley and Ivy as a team work, because they have these moments like this with each other. As mad as Ivy gets with Harley's going to be able to kind of get her like this.
Totally.
Not always with a look, but always just kind of like find the humanity. It's like, basically she's the little sister she never had. That's kind of how their dynamic is. It's like, she could kill, she can kill like all the humans in the world, but not Harley Quinn. And it's kind of sweet. And again, I like that we set that up. I wish my issue is this. I love that we said that Ivy's having second thoughts because Harley's kind of, when Harley's thrown into the mix, she's having second thoughts about the plan. What I wish is that Ivy wasn't so repetitive, like saying, "Oh, we gotta save the world. We gotta save the world every 5 seconds. We gotta save the world. The Earth. We've given up on the Earth."
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. I
wish they could have changed it up in dialogue a little bit because basically her explaining, we get it. Ivy, just you gave the initial reason. We get it. It's perfectly fine. I don't need to keep telling us. We got it. Now she's using the plant force.
Yep, pretty much.
Kind of a battle of plant wills here. And this is where you get the whole, I'm not going to say like they should have made her human because it wouldn't have made any sense with the whole why would she team up with the Florrick Man, all this stuff. Just, this is where you kind of a plant person versus plant person here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right, man. Florrick Man is kind of a formidable foe, but still, Batman should have figured out, like, come on, plant weakness, very obvious.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't, like, I believe if Batman couldn't have access to a flame, then he'd have some trouble. It's just the fact that he didn't think of the fire option.
Now, I will acknowledge that in the Swamp Thing issue with Batman, where he did fight when he did fight Swamp Thing, he did use that stuff, and Swamp Thing still won. I'm not saying that would have won the fight. I'm saying it would have at least helped him a great deal. As I'm saying, I'm not saying it would have defeated him. That's kind of the only kind of out for that I could see is that Florrick Man still would have probably been fine. Would have run possibly. And here we go. This to me is this is somewhat of a divisive game. I think collectively, just it's timed and just it's timed so well. It's just so funny to me what we do here with the Swamp Thing.
Yeah. I think it's pretty much the highlight of the whole movie for me. Just
it's one of the highlights. Yeah, this is like this is the highlight of Act 3. I'll say very much.
Oh yeah.
Oh, good. I love how it's played, and we have the excellent music playing.
It's kind of almost Dormammu-esque.
In a way, yes. It's very. I like with the score. I like that we're doing kind of classic Justice League Unlimited here, where we do like kind of big and cosmic with it here, where it's like this grand kind of whimsical moment with Swamp Thing's emergence from the. So usually, I don't think he's usually that big, but then again, there's so many Swamp Thing.
I don't think so, but yeah.
I mean, basically Swamp Thing emerging from whatever's around him. He's in a swamp, like a big swamp. He could be big. It's not, it doesn't take me out of it completely, but he needs to dwarf the Florrick.
It works for the moment.
It does, and it's cool. And John DiMaggio, he does the voice of Kevin Michael Richardson's the Florrick Man. John DiMaggio does the voice of Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
I love how kind of slow and kind of majestic it all is here. We're saying, it's him, Swamp Thing, and then he emerges here, and he looks so great in the kind of that Bruce Timm design and everything. Oh man, it looks wonderful. I love the majesty. I love the score here. I love how the Florrick Man is like he's in the presence of God. He's like crying. He's almost crying. He's just like,
right.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. I love that, man. I'm dying for a Swamp Thing movie after this. God, give me an animated Swamp Thing movie, darn it. This is beautiful. This is not the way to right the wrongs done to Mother Guy. Just saying, he's being so caring with them.
In a way, because we've been talking a lot about Captain Planet because the Cat and the Claw is very much a Captain Planet episode. But in a way, this is like the best Captain Planet style ending ever, where it's just like, hey, the environment, Like, yeah, it's cool to love the environment, but this isn't the best way to go about it, bro.
Yeah, and this is hilarious here, where we just I love that Harley's like kind of calling him on it, like, hey. To do something. What are you doing?
right.
And then like Parliament of Trees. I'm sure someone out there is like a college written I on like the Parliament of Trees that I can't even bother reading right now. Parliament of Trees is like, I don't know. It's like some grandiose thing Alan Moore came up with.
It's something I'd like to
and again, like here,
dive into at some point, just for the sheer muscle exercise of it all. Brain muscle exercise.
Screw the noble nature, kick his butt. Farewell. And again, it's just the majesty of it all is beautiful. And just the time that he just emerges to say, expound a little wisdom, and then he's gone. That's all we can afford a Swamp Thing in this movie. But it was great when he was there. I can already say, well, that was a lot of nothing, and the Florrick Man realizing, hey, I just like Dad said, do better next time. We're gonna do better next time now.
Yeah, in retrospect, the Swamp Thing probably should have thought that out a little better.
They should have. Now this is this ending here, I feel, is cute and well timed with the whole Swamp Thing of it all here. As Tiki's kind of illuminated, and I agree.
It's well timed. It just undercuts the whole tension of everything in the movie, though.
Basically, a part of me feels it shouldn't have ended here, but it's again, this is all cute. Like they all shucks here. Like, come on, that's it. That's an adorable image. That's the thing. It's cute, and it's like, hey, Harley helped save the day. Good for her. But at the same time, it's like we end it there. We don't even get. I know we're about to see him on fire in a few seconds, but at the same time, it's the fact that there's an ending. I don't understand why
we didn't tie up the arc with Ivy at all.
That's the thing. Like, we're missing pieces here.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
I get like kind of the appeal, like, hey, ending on that moment, but at the same time, it's honestly both post-credit scenes put together. Bear in mind with a little bit more in connecting them. The ending should have been the very ending of the movie.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a long post-credit scene, man. It's like a good 3 minutes.
Because seriously, that ending is good for Harley's arc, because that's what she was looking for when she's like looking through the letters with Nightwing, that she wants she wants to be.
I honestly think the writers just, they saw the potential in ending the movie on that gag and then cutting to credits, and they couldn't resist.
And like a part of me, I understand that. But
I definitely understand it. Yeah.
And again, it's cute. And again,
you know what I think maybe they should have done?
Well, I should tell you this, Steve. Harley Quinn ended in a similar fashion, so maybe they're pulling from that too. It ended on like kind of like a what? No.
How would you feel if they switched the mid and post credit scene? If the mid credit scene was like the Dr. Quinn thing, and then for the post credits we just got the quick, like the guy on fire.
No, it wouldn't have made any sense because that happened earlier. It would have happened before she became Dr. Quinn.
No, I guess. You got
to keep it in that order. It's where like a little bit. I don't know. So I mean, again, like the very ending is what the ending we should have gotten because it's it's a good ending for Harley. It's good.
Maybe they just should have had like that like the Dr. Quinn thing, and then had the I don't know.
It's not bad. It's not a bad ending, but it's not satisfying.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. And again, I really like this the Dr. Quinn thing we're going to get because it's the idea of Harley getting a ridiculous therapy game show. It's hilarious. But honestly, though,
I want a whole movie around that. Dragon, can that just be the sequel? just having her, because you know how they film game shows, like they film like 2 weeks worth of episodes in an afternoon or something like that. Just to ever film like like an afternoon's worth of episodes. Just have that be the plot, just the ins and outs of that.
Well, let me tell you this though, in one of the animated series, not for any of this stuff, but for the show called The Batman, when they kind of they basically retold the origin of Harley Quinn. What they had with her there is that she was a kind of a pop therapy psychologist. She had like a TV show, like with a studio audience, where she'd analyze people on the couch in front of everyone, which this kind of reminded me of. And honestly, that also would have been acceptable. Like, honestly, that would have been a good wrap up to her arc, just having her be like a TV psychologist who has to preface everything saying, well, I'm not an actual doctor. And it's like,
I like that, by the way. It totally reminds me of, doctor shows, but also court shows. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So, I mean, all of that would have been fun. But the fact that we kind of plus, and we go into the end, feels very much where Harley's out in the comics right now. We have like kind of the Amanda Connor sort of like, we take something and we kind of plus it a little crazy, where it's a game show.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, it's like that's funny too. I like the fact that we return to the old. I've always loved this design on Harley, the Dr. Quinzel. I like that we got her back to that. Again, it's not the same kind of like the all calm, cool collective.
Also, I just love the Dr. Quinn medicine woman pun. I'm sure it's been made before, but
honestly, I've never heard it until this movie. That was just me, though. I don't know.
Fair enough. I mean, if you haven't heard it, I don't know. It just seems like an obvious gag to make.
I mean, you're right. It is obvious. I'm surprised. I'll tell you this: if it has been used, it hasn't been used a lot. But yeah,
I love how it's like a Double Dare style obstacle course.
Well, no, it's like there's a show called Wipeout because they borrow a lot of from.
Oh yeah, I can see the Wipeout of it all.
It's like Wipeout meets like American Ninja Warrior, but for therapy.
Well, Wipeout is basically a lame version of American Ninja Warrior, so.
This feels like the more assaultive version of that because he literally gets punched by boxing gloves.
Right, like Wipeout is American Ninja Warrior, except without like people who aren't actually athletes, just idiots trying to do it. Anyways,
and I love this. She's giving like these ridiculous pick me up pieces of advice that have in no way relate to what the guy's going through. So like she's giving like this like BS psychology to the guy as he's going through each of these obstacles. He keeps failing at them.
Sure.
Like hang in there, baby, like the cat poster, and just he falls and on the balls now. It's just and the fact that again he doesn't get anything. By the way, again she could just the fact that she could just do like the TV therapy thing, just kind of handle the guy's problems and kind of make everyone so happy. She's just going to make him work for it, and if he doesn't get it, he doesn't get it, and just says, "Hey, everyone out there, actually get therapy." Just like it's the biggest hilarious insult of it all. Oh, ain't that a shame? And again, this seriously is a good ending for Harley Quinn because she kind of gets what she wants. She's a doctor again. She's kind of like on the road to being who she was before she met the Joker, and at the same time, she has like it's like not full respectability, but it's like a place where she can live with this.
Yeah, for sure.
And her saying bye-bye to the folks at home. But I got to tell you, though, going into this movie, I expected, as a post-credit scene or at the very end of the movie, again, just going into it, not seeing kind of what they were going for as the movie unfolded, I was expecting Mark Hamill to have a cameo as the Joker at the very end of the movie.
You know, I was kind of I was hoping they wouldn't do a Joker cameo.
Well, when the movie was announced, I was expecting this because everyone else was coming back. I was figured, oh yeah, Mark Hamill will be working.
It's just the only reason I didn't really want to see it is because I felt like, in spite of all the flaws in the movie, I felt like the movie did do a really good job of telling a story, you know, telling a Harley Quinn story without the Joker in it.
You're right, and I understand that choice. I don't know, maybe they considered and they didn't do that, but yeah, it was a good choice.
Especially like with the plot of this movie, it's like, and how this movie moves at such a breakneck speed, it's like you wouldn't have had anywhere to put the Joker.
Well, I'm saying like he would have maybe been the ending or the post-credit scene, like very end.
But what would you like? How would he even be interacting with Harley?
Well, no, he'd be like commenting, like he could be the guy watching her show and just like, oh, what a crap.
Oh, okay, I could see that. I could see him being the guy watching the show. All right, that's clever. I like.
Yeah,
that.
like they did something like that once in the. It wasn't exactly like that, but they had in the Harley Ivy episode of the animated series. It kind of ends on a note of like Joker commenting on kind of like Harley and Ivy being buddies, like he's like not being happy with it.
All right, so final thoughts, Dragon. Go ahead.
All right, final thoughts. You know, it's a mixed bag, folks. Again, I have a little cookie analogy. There's stuff in this movie that infuriates me. There's a lot of stuff that brings it. But I'm so delighted with, and it kind of brings back kind of. It's a fun tribute to the animated series, but not the most thoughtful one. I wish it was more thoughtful with it. Yeah, again, it's not a bad tribute to Batman the animated series. It has hit or miss jokes. Mostly, the misses are really big, but there are a few hit jokes in there.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of good references, and I hope that I'm probably reading into a lot of them. But there's some good Cell references there as well. And again, it's like at the same time, again, like I'm delayed by all the little cameos in that henchman bar scene. I was like so delayed by that sequence. Again, while all that stuff's good, then we have the musical numbers that are going on too long. We're not really doing anything with the fact that we have all those characters, and then we're having.
I think that dive bar scene is kind of like a perfect analogy for the whole movie, right?
Yeah, and a part of it feels like here's the thing. It's like the fact that they did it, I'm delighted by that. I wish they had more thought applied to it because hey,
exactly.
Look at those characters. I mean, I appreciate the deep cuts of it all, but half of those characters shouldn't be there. And so that's the thing. It's like, hey, let's pull. I think they just did it for their own amusement versus just doing it for like. Yeah, I'm not saying that makes sense of every single thing, but like kind of give it like a second look to make sure like it hits just the right spots. And I feel that's kind of what the movie is, right? It's like it's a blanket tribute, and the blanket is all it's all kind of cozy and.
Oh, here we go, another analogy.
Again, I've been watching a lot of the Tick lately, folks, and the Tick has a lot of like bizarre analogies. So I guess that's why I'm kind of in a rut this episode.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's a cozy, warm, familiar blanket that's your best buddy in the world, but at the same time, it's like. It's starting to fray a little bit. You can see that you could have, like someone at the factory when they were making it, they could have taken another pass at making it like the best blanket ever.
But Dragon, I just love my electric blanket.
So in the end, I was expecting a little more with this. At the very least, my expectation very much like a lot of the animated films, like Assault on Arkham or like something like Assault on Arkham. With expectations of Suicide Squad measuring up to Assault on Arkham, I was expecting this to measure up to Harley Quinn 8. I'm not saying surpass it, at least be as good as it, and it wasn't. It's a decent outline, and we have a decent outline design and great designs from Bruce Timm, but we're missing the charm and the humor from Dini, and it's just kind of lacking from the movie. I'm not saying we can't do anything without Dini, but we should be in the spirit of Dini, or at the very least, kind of pay homage to that. If we're doing something that's literally based on the animated version.
Yeah.
So, mixed bag.
All right. Yeah, I mean, obviously, for you, it's definitely higher stakes because you've got all the history with the animated series. So the stuff that's going to land with you is going to land with you more. And then the stuff that doesn't land is just going to, like, throw you off more. So you had more high highs and low lows with this movie than I did.
Well, you know what? I'm sorry, real quick. It kind of dawned on me here.
Really quick. We're running.
Real quick. Yeah. Honestly, I aesthetically, like, visually, this is the animated series tribute I was waiting for, but I think emotionally it wasn't like what I had with Killing Joke. Killing Joke, I had more of like, I was so emotionally caught up with Killing Joke, or this one I didn't have the emotion in it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, to me, you're probably going to hate me for this. I think this is probably a better movie than Killing Joke overall. I don't know. Just structurally, I think this is more sound than Killing Joke is. Because Killing Joke basically should have been... We've been down the Killing Joke rabbit hole before. It should have been a short film, right? Like, it should have been a 45-minute, like, short film. And instead, like... Basically, I think all of the stuff in the Killing Joke, like, all of the first 20 minutes is virtually unwatchable. Whereas to me, like, there's only a couple moments in this that really throw it off. Don't get me wrong, those moments they're horrible, and they're probably some of the, like, Dragon, I would wager to say you probably find some of the George Clooney Batman stuff more respectable than the one aforementioned moment that shall not be mentioned again, right? Would you prefer Clooney Batman to that?
Probably. Okay, if I'm just taking like all Clooney, like everything Clooney in that movie, or just all the jokes from Clooney.
Just every, like, if you were to erase one thing from existence, that or like all of Clooney Batman.
That's a big decision, T. Personally, I know I'm more invested.
I mean, I actually like Clooney Batman, ironically. So
I'm just saying, if it's saving Kevin Conroy Batman or saving Clooney Batman, I'm gonna save Kevin Conroy by getting rid of that Harley Quinn fart.
Fair enough. All right. So yes, folks, I think I think at the end of the day, this was kind of it was a mixed bag, but like I said, I do think structurally it's got a really good pace to it. I mean, you've got to admit that much. It's got a breakneck pace. You never get bored watching it, and for that reason, I think for me it landed a little bit better than Killing Joke did. Of course, keep in mind I had higher expectations for the Killing Joke than I did for this, so that might have something to do with it. I don't know, but I digress. So Batman, wow, I literally just called you Batman, Dragon. It's like, so Batman. Wow. It's been a long night. Okay, so Dragon.
Yes, Robin.
We've got a couple of really exciting Batman, animated films to look forward to. We have the sequel to Return to the Caped Crusaders coming in October, and then of course we have it's Gotham by Gaslight, right?
Yes, and it looks so good. I'm much more excited. I'm so excited for that.
Right.
Really, yeah.
So, I'm more excited for Return of the Caped Crusaders too, but...
if I had to pick between, I'm just saying, they're both looking really good.
Yeah. So, yeah, of course, we'll be back to cover all of that, and yeah, just... just please, writers, just please, don't have any more Harley Quinn fart jokes.
Call Dee Dee! Call Dee Dee! D-I-M!